There's a moment a lot of men know, but almost none of them admit out loud. A woman is there, the energy is there, the opening is there, and still he does nothing. Not because he doesn't want to, not because he doesn't feel it, because something inside him freezes right at the edge of possibility. And what makes it worse is that later, when the moment is gone, he tells himself a comforting lie. He says, I was being respectful, I was being careful, I was waiting for certainty. No. Most of the time, he was waiting for a guarantee life was never going to give him. And if you're the kind of man who wants truth more than comfort, subscribe now, because that choice matters. Not for a number on a screen, but because the moment you start choosing truth over ego, growth over fantasy, your whole life begins to tighten up in the best way. You stop drifting. You start seeing. Because here's what this really means. When a younger woman is waiting for you to make a move, it usually does not look like a movie, and it definitely does not feel like certainty. It looks subtle. It looks like space being left open. It looks like attention that lingers a little too long, conversation that keeps finding a reason to continue, a warmth that does not need to be there but is. And the mistake older men make is thinking attraction arrives with a signed document. It doesn't. It arrives as an invitation. Sometimes quiet, sometimes almost deniable. And if you need absolute proof before you move, you are not being wise, you are being absent. That's the misconception. Men think maturity means never risking misread signals. They think being seasoned means standing back forever, analyzing every glance like it's a legal case. But excessive analysis is not maturity. That's avoidance. Real maturity is knowing how to move with calm, with respect, with emotional control, without needing to dominate the moment or force an outcome. That's discipline. And this is where the hard truth comes in. A lot of older men are not afraid of rejection. They are afraid of exposure. Rejection is a simple event. Exposure is psychological. Exposure means the mask comes off. Exposure means you have to stand there as a man who wanted something, felt something, risked something, and did not hide behind status, age, money, intellect, or cool detachment. That terrifies men who have spent years building an identity around control, so they become careful in all the wrong ways. They tell themselves they're above the chase. They say younger women play games. They say dating has changed. They say the signs are too hard to read now. But under all that language, there's often one simple reality. They don't trust themselves in lifetime. They don't trust their read. They don't trust their ability to handle a yes without getting needy or a no without collapsing inward. So they stay in the safest prison a man can build, plausible deniability. And that prison is expensive. It costs you the conversation that could have become something real. It costs you momentum. It costs you presence. It costs you your own self-respect, because somewhere deep down, you know when you're being honest and when you're hiding behind sophistication. You know the difference between restraint and fear. One feels clean, the other lingers. One makes you stronger, the other follows you home at night. Think about how this plays out in real life. A woman asks you a question she didn't need to ask. She keeps the interaction alive when she could have ended it. Her body language softens around you. She makes room. She responds to your attention instead of closing it down. Maybe she lightly teases you. Maybe she returns after leaving. Maybe she looks at you with that combination of comfort and curiosity that says, I'm open, but I'm not doing the whole thing for you. And what do too many men do? They wait for her to become the man in the interaction. They wait for her to remove all risk, all ambiguity, all masculine responsibility from the moment. And by the time they're ready, the window has closed. Not because she never liked them, because she got tired of carrying the whole emotional weight of the opening. Now let's go deeper than behavior. The root issue is not women. It's not age gaps. It's not modern dating. The root issue is fragmentation inside the man himself. One part of him wants connection. Another part wants safety. One part wants to lead. Another part is terrified of being seen trying. One part says, go talk to her. Another says, protect your image. And when those parts are not integrated, he stalls. He becomes outwardly composed and inwardly divided. That division is what women feel more than anything. Not your age, not your lines, not even your looks at first. They feel whether you are internally split, whether your words are moving forward while your energy is pulling backward, whether your attention is warm but your spine is missing. People may not always know how to describe it, but they can feel coherence. They can feel when a man is settled in himself. And they can feel when he is asking them to rescue him from his own hesitation. A self-respecting man does not do that. Picture him clearly. He's not dramatic, not loud, not trying to prove he still has it. He doesn't carry desperation in expensive clothing. He doesn't hide insecurity under sarcasm or over-explaining. He's grounded. His life has structure. He takes care of his body, not out of vanity, but out of standards. He speaks directly because he has nothing to protect except his character. When he notices a woman may be receptive, he doesn't turn it into a fantasy. He stays present. He reads the room. He offers clear attention. If the openness is there, he steps in with calm. If it isn't, he steps back with the same calm. No collapse, no resentment, no performance. That man is attractive because he is not trying to extract certainty from someone else before he allows himself to act. That is power in its adult form. And let's be honest about something else. Younger women who are drawn to older men are rarely drawn to the number itself. They are drawn to what the number is supposed to represent: stability, direction, emotional composure, clarity. A man who is not whipped around by every impulse. A man who can make a moment feel safe without making it feel dull. But if you carry the age and not the substance, that attraction dies fast. If you want the benefit of being older, you have to embody what older is supposed to mean at its best. So how do you actually move differently? You stop looking for a sign that eliminates risk and start looking for signs of receptivity. Those are not the same thing. Receptivity means she is engaged, responsive, comfortable, giving you something to work with. It does not mean ownership. It does not mean assumption. It means there is enough there for a respectful move, a real move, not a vague half flirt designed to protect your ego, not endless banter with no direction, something simple, something clean. I like talking to you. You have a great energy. Let's continue this another time. What's your number? Calm, direct, human. Notice the difference. You are not trying to corner her. You are not trying to impress her into submission. You are revealing intention and allowing reality to answer. That's all. And if reality says no, good. Better a clean no than a lifetime of muddy maybes. Better a brief sting than chronic self-betrayal. Men waste years trying to avoid discomfort. And in doing so, they build a life that quietly humiliates them. Because the problem with avoidance is that it compounds. Avoid one moment and you train your nervous system to avoid the next one. Delay one honest move and hesitation becomes identity. Then one day you start calling yourself someone you were never meant to become. Careful, complicated, out of practice, maybe even invisible. No, you are not invisible. You are uncommitted, and that can change fast. It changes the moment you decide your job is not to be chosen before you act. Your job is to show up clearly enough that real choice can happen. That is a different mindset entirely. It takes you out of passivity and puts you back into authorship. You stop obsessing over whether she is waiting and start focusing on whether you are leading yourself. Because in many cases, yes, she may be waiting for you to make a move. But the deeper question is, are you the kind of man who can make one without losing himself in the outcome? That's where freedom is. You don't need a perfect script. You need a regulated nervous system. You don't need better tricks. You need less internal noise. You don't need to become aggressive. You need to become available to action. Big difference. Aggression forces. Availability moves when the door opens. And maybe that's what you needed to hear today. Not that women are mysterious. Not that dating is broken. Not that you missed your chance and the world moved on without you. Maybe what you needed was the harder, cleaner truth. Your life gets better when you stop demanding certainty before courage. Your relationships get better. Your posture changes. Your voice changes. Your decisions change because you are no longer negotiating with fear every time something real appears in front of you. So the next time you feel that opening, don't run a committee meeting in your head. Don't ask your insecurity to vote on your future. Slow down, breathe. Look at what is actually happening, not at the disaster movie your mind is projecting. If the warmth is there, meet it. If the conversation wants to continue, guide it. If the moment calls for honesty, give it honesty. That's not recklessness, that's alignment. And if you've spent years hiding behind overthinking, let this be the day that pattern loses some of its power. Not all at once, not with fake bravado, with truth, with practice, with one clean moment at a time, because you are not here to watch your own life from the hallway. You are not here to become a spectator with opinions. You are not here to confuse self-protection with wisdom. You are here to live as a man whose actions match his awareness, whose standards match his age, whose presence says, I know who I am, and I am not afraid to be seen acting from that place. That is the reset. You do not need to be younger. You need to be clearer. You do not need to be smoother. You need to be more honest. You do not need more fantasy. You need more ownership. And once you start living like that, everything sharpens. Not because the world suddenly becomes easy, but because you stop abandoning yourself inside it. If that's the kind of man you're becoming, subscribe and stay close. This is a community built around clarity, discipline, and growth. And if you're serious about walking forward with self-respect instead of confusion, then you already know you're not waiting anymore.